Good morning. Please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing The Tide is Rising, which you may know as a familiar tune. It's newly added to our online hymnal Sing Out Loud. Is rising, and so are we. The tide is rising, and so are we. The tide is rising, and so are we. This is where we are called to be. This is where we are called to be. The task is mighty. The task is mighty. So are we. The task is mighty, and so are we. The task is mighty, and so are we. This is where we are called to be. This is where we are called to be. The storm is raging, the storm is raging, and so are we. So are we. The storm is raising, and so are we. This is where we are called to be. This is where we are called to be. The sun is rising, it's rising, and so are we. The sun is rising, and so are we. The sun is rising, and so are we. This is where we are called to be. This is where we are called to be. The world is ready, the world is ready, and so are we. The world is ready, and so are we. The world is ready, and so are we. This is where we are called to be. This is where we are called to be. Please be seated.
We bid you welcome, who come with weary spirit seeking rest,
who come with troubles that are too much with you, who come hurt and afraid.
We bid you welcome, who come with hope in your heart,
who come with anticipation in your step, who come proud and joyous.
We bid you welcome, who are seekers of a new faith,
who come to probe and explore, who come to learn.
We bid you welcome, who enter this hall as a homecoming,
who have found here room for your spirit, who find in this people a family.
Whoever you are, whatever you are, wherever you are on your journey,
we bid you welcome.
And as Benjamin lights our chalice this morning, we do so in celebration of being part of the tide that can change our history. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Eno River Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, or ERUUF, as we like to say. I am Reverend Patty Hanneman. I am a member here, and I am also serving as your summer minister while the ERUUF ministers are taking their summer breaks. As we said in our opening words this morning, whoever you are and wherever you come from, whatever your race, your gender identities, whomever you love, wherever you are on your spiritual journey or on your search for truth and meaning and liberation, you are welcome here with us in this beloved community. If you're visiting with us this morning, I invite you to rise in body or spirit so that we might give you a robust ERUUF welcome. Do we have any visitors today? Thank you. I know it's a little vulnerable to stand as visitors, so I appreciate you doing that, and I really appreciate you joining us, deciding to spend your Sunday morning with us. If you're watching on the live stream this morning and have access to the chat, I invite you to place your name there and someone will welcome you online. And if you are visiting with us and you have children with you today, they're welcome to participate in the children's religious exploration classes. The children will leave right after the time for all ages to go to class, and there will be one of our RE people in the foyer to take care of you and your child, and then you can return to the sanctuary for the service. Also, we have an inquiries class today for newcomers and visitors and anybody else who wants to attend. It takes place right after the service, and it will be in the chapel, which is this area over here behind the windows to my left. Today's session is going to be a tour of the campus, and they'll be providing some historical information about our fellowship. If you have a child in religious exploration, be sure to pick them up before that class, and then you'll be told where you can take them for childcare during the class, or you can have them with you in the class if that's your preference. This would be a great time to turn down or turn off any devices that you might have so we can keep this space sacred. And let's take a big, deep breath in as we breathe in the wonderful vibes of this community, and we breathe out any cares that might be with us that might keep us from being fully present with us this morning. Let us begin our worship.
Now, it's time for our smallest, mediumest, and largest of the young and youth at heart to come down to hear, if you would like, our story, A New Kind of Wild. Good morning. Come on down. All right. Yes, last time I did this, there were no kids. This is great. All right. Our story is A New Kind of Wild by Zara Gonzalez Hoang. Okay. Ren lived in a little white house on the edge of El Yunque. His days were filled with green and dirt and rocks and mud, all the bits of nature and magic a life lived on the edge of the wild offers. Look at this house. That house is out in nature, right? Does anyone else's house look like that? My house looks a little bit like that. Our house looks like that. Yeah. Every day, Ren adventured with dragons and chased unicorns. He feasted with fairies and campaigned with kings. Where are the kings at? Oh, they're little tiny little frog kings there, right? So we see our little frog kings on the next page. But look, there's a different place there. What happened? Where do you think that place is on the right? The city, that's right. It's a different place now. Let's see what happens there. Without his wild, Ren was lonely. What do you think happened to his wild? Maybe he moved somewhere. That's a great guess. Does anyone else have a guess? Yay, that's right. Let's see what happens. Ava, who lived upstairs, was never lonely. She loved her buildings, and she loved her city. It was a place of constant change, with people moving through it like an endless parade. There was always something to see or do, and best of all, there was always someone to share it with. So when Ava saw Ren, she ran down to meet him. "I'm Ava," she said. She asked him who he was and how he got there, if he had brothers, a father, a mother, if he liked the city, or why he didn't. She asked him so many things so quickly, he thought his head would explode. When finally she stopped for a breath, Ren tried to tell her why the city wasn't for him, but all Ava heard was a challenge. Ava pulled him from the stoop and into the busy city. She led him down colorful streets and sidewalks. They peeked into alleys. What did they see in the alley there? Do you see what they see? There's graffiti, yeah. And what does he see? What does he see? What's he looking at? A rat eating a cookie. Oh my goodness. They splashed in hydrants and they tried to find the rhythm of the streets, but all Ren saw was gray, and all he heard was the screeching of brakes and the honking of horns. It was nothing like home. When Ava caught up to Ren, she asked him what was wrong. "There's no magic here," he said. "No wild. Everything is exactly what it is." "You're wrong," Ava said. Hadn't he heard the song of the city? Hadn't he seen the color of the streets? She spent all day showing him. How could he not see? If only he would try a little harder, she thought. But Ren was tired of trying, so he went back inside. Homesickness swept over him like a wave, and he felt even lonelier than ever. Outside was a whole new world, one he didn't belong to. As he stared out the window, Ren saw Ava skipping across the sidewalk. She moved through her city like he had moved through his wild, with an air of possibility flickering around her. How did Ava do it? Ren wondered. Maybe she could show him how. "Sorry I left," Ren said when he found her. "I just miss home." I've never lived anywhere else, and everything is so different here. I've only lived in the city, Ava said. I can't imagine living anywhere else. What is it like? So Wren told her about his wild, about the green and the trees and the rocks and the mud, and about the magical creatures that played there. He spun a tale of fairies and fantasy that he just couldn't see on these drab city blocks. And finally, Ava understood what was missing. She brought Wren down to the basement of their building, showed him how the shadows could shapeshift, and introduced him to the creatures who lived in the unlikeliest of places. Then she took him up, past Mr. Borge's apartment, 4B, past the empty apartment with the red door, past stacked boxes and peeling wallpaper, all the way to the very top. She told him that the city had a rhythm, and the music it played could be a lullaby or a salsa. Listen, she said, as she pulled him outside. The sounds that were so jarring below softened into something almost musical. With the city spread out before them, Ava showed Wren how bricks could become beautiful. It was a new kind of wild. Who sees something wild here? A rainbow is wild. What else is wild? Yeah, that's right. Anything else you see that's wild? The Venus flytrap is wild. That's right. The swordfish, so many wild things. That's right. You see it all. You just use your imagination, right? It's all there. And this time, he also could see it. Oh my goodness, look at all that wild. What do you see now? Oh no. A giant robot. Whoa, a gigantic boa. A Titanoboa. That's amazing. I like that name. So many beautiful, wild, kind of scary things, right? But also cool. This time he could see it. Thank you for sharing this story for us. So now you get to go to religious exploration and use your imagination to see what beautiful, wild things you can find. Thank you.
Peace, salam, shalom. 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 Please take a moment to turn and greet your neighbor, especially if your neighbor is someone you haven't yet met.
Now that we've had a chance to get up and move a little bit, or not, let's settle in for a moment of quiet reflection and guided meditation with these words, a meditation called The Strength of Water. The strength of water takes on many, many forms, just as each of you has a unique and necessary strength that you bring to our community and to the work of love. Take a moment now to drop down into the deep wellspring of your own spirit and bathe yourself in the strength that is the groundwater of your person. Are you a roaring fall wearing rock away with sheer force of will? Or are you a tiny drop of water in a crevice, breaking it open slowly, steadily? Are you buoyant, like a great salt lake practiced at holding others aloft? Are you tenacious, like the mountain stream, finding your way down and around every obstacle you face? Are you still and calm like the pond at daybreak, offering radiant peace by your shores? Are you in touch with hidden depths, pulling from a vast well, or soothing, like the steam rising from a cup of tea? Do you dissolve away stubborn muck like water left in a pot to soak overnight? Do you soften and smooth the edges like a creeping fog? Do you clear away distraction like a cleansing rain? Do you roll with the ebb and flow like the ocean waves? Settle your mind upon the strength, the power that is yours. Draw that strength into your heart. Draw it up into your soul. As we gather together the many waters of this community, we need each of your power, each of your resilience, each of your love to make us all whole. We hold in our hearts this morning with great compassion all beings who are experiencing sorrow and suffering at this time, both here in our community and throughout the world. We send well wishes and support and healing energy to one of our members here who will be undergoing feminine facialization surgery, and we wish them well during this transition. We hold in our hearts Kurt Hudson and Mariel Mueller as they grieve the death of their beloved wife and mother, Monique Mueller, who died Monday, June 15th. A celebration of life for Monique will be held here on Sunday, August 30th at 3 p.m. We send our energies toward and offer prayers for the well-being of those the world over who are experiencing any form of trauma, violence, or devastation due to war, climate displacement, hunger, injury, illness, or the loss of loved ones. And we pray also for the health of our planet that nurtures our lives. Let us also hold in our hearts all the unspoken concerns and joys among those here at ERUUF. Amen, Ashe, and blessed be.
Our meditation hymn this morning is Spirit of Life, hymn number 123 in the hymnal, and the lyrics, of course, are on the screen. Spirit of life, come unto me, sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion, blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Good morning. It's been a particularly tough year and a half. I'm deeply afraid of the direction our country is going, and my faith in my fellow human beings is shaken. I can feel helpless as I watch boundless greed, selfishness, arrogance, and careless disregard for the well-being of others take the lead. Cruelty often reigns in the halls of power. When the news is overwhelming, I can go numb. Numbness creates a kind of certainty for me, a kind of sameness. I'm going through the motions, keeping the rubber on the road. But numbness is a costly form of resilience, with no room for surprise, no creativity, limited response. A couple weeks ago, I pulled up to the stoplight at the exit ramp on Swift Avenue, and an older man was sitting in the heat with a sign asking for help. I rolled down the window and handed him a $5 bill. He held my outstretched hand in his and fully looked at me, sitting in my air-conditioned Prius. He said, "May God bless you." "Thank you," I murmured, a little caught off guard by his sincerity, the kindness in his eyes, the gentleness of his touch. "I will pray for your health," he said. I said. "Be well," he said, and released my hand. "You too," I replied awkwardly, and the light changed. I drove on, puzzled and touched. I brought my hand, now thoroughly blessed, against my chest. This man met me with more presence and kindness than I had expected, than I had mustered. How was it that I was given more than I gave? Such a complicated interaction. But one thing is very clear to me. That grizzled, thin, elderly man had resisted the dehumanizing conditions of poverty, of racism, of homelessness, and had maintained his humanity. He had responded to the difference in our situations in that moment with generosity and care, rather than with resentment or rage. he knows something central to resilience, to keeping his heart open, to being next to another person with awareness and care. I had offered a perfunctory interaction. His sincerity and warmth, his kindness shifted the moment to something new, unexpected, vulnerable. Instead of numbness, this is the kind of resilience I want to nurture. A resilience that is staying alive, staying vital and awake to connection, to beauty, to harmony, to the spirit of life. I want to stay present to life and love despite the fear, to develop the capacity to hold it all, the awfulness and the beauty, and stay open. Uncertainty opens the door to something new developing, something vital, if I am awake to the moment as it unfolds. Who else might I see more clearly? What else might I be called to do? In reaching for that kind of resilience, singing with ERUUF's Heart of Justice Song Circle helps me so much. I want to engage in the being together, the blending of our voices, the warmth of connection. And I want to sing the songs that help orient and ground me in our UU values, in a vision of the world based in justice and love. Learning from the beautiful singing resistance that flooded the streets of Minneapolis during their ICE invasion last winter, we sing songs resisting dehumanization. We prepare to join with others to sing in protest when that is called for. Our songs are about leading with love, about standing our ground, refusing to be divided. I lost my place. Claiming the power of a just, humane world. We sing, put one foot in front of the other, and lead with love. We sing, the storm is rising, and so are we. This is where we are called to be, as we sang this morning. We sing, I'm going to keep my heart wide open when the waves try to push me around. We sing, I know you're scared, and I'm scared too, but here I am right next to you. Our little choir and the songs we sing are the best antidote I've found to the fear, taking a step toward the world we're longing to create, awake to uncertainty, fear, and loss, and offering beauty and love.
Life is difficult, and life is a wonder. How we navigate through these two great truths often depends on our resilience. I want to begin this morning with a story taken out of Pema Chodron's book, When Things Fall Apart. The story marks a turning point in her life at a time when she had not yet discovered Buddhism. At the time, her name was Deidre Bromfield Brown. She was a wife, mother, school teacher living in New Mexico. And one morning, she writes, as she stood outside her adobe home sipping a cup of tea, she heard a car drive up, and then she heard the car door slam shut, and her husband walked around the corner and suddenly announced to her that he was having an affair and wanted a divorce. You know, sometimes when you receive shocking news or something happens that's so unexpected, you just kind of go numb for a while. Pema Chodron writes that at first she just noticed how blue the sky was, and she watched the steam from her teacup, the river meandering past their home. She didn't have a thought. She was just existing in stillness. And then she picked up a rock and threw it at his head. I love this story because I think if this woman could transform herself from that person to the paragon of mindfulness that we know today as Pema Chodron, there is perhaps hope for all of us to learn the lessons that we need to about resilience. Things fall apart all the time. Life is both difficult and wonderful. We build resilience in order to navigate from breakdown to breakthrough. But how do we build resilience? Pema Chodron would say mindfulness practices can be central to building our resilience. She reminds us that things fall apart, and that's a kind of testing, and also can be a kind of healing. We think the point is to pass the test or to overcome the problem. But the truth is that things don't really get solved. They come together and they fall apart, and then they come together and they fall apart again. It's just like that. The healing comes from letting there be room for all of this to happen. Room for grief, for relief, for misery, and for joy. Those of you who have engaged in mindfulness meditation know that it is mostly about allowing your thoughts to pass through undisturbed without any kind of judgment, without pushing it away, even the parts that make us uncomfortable, maybe even especially the things that make us uncomfortable, or the things that make us feel a little bit unsafe. When we do this on a regular basis, we can understand that the essence of life is really that it is both challenging and sweet, sometimes bitter, and that we can count on a life that continues to throw us out of the nest over and over again. So when we make a daily practice to go to these places inside us that scare us or feel a little bit unsafe, then we can start building the muscle around the backbone of our lives that can help us be more resilient. When I hear the word resilience, I often remember what my physical therapist has told me when she said, if you have problems with a joint or your back, your spine, you don't work on the joint itself. You strengthen the muscles around it that hold it in place. And resilience is very much like that. It's not so much about having a strong constitution that can withstand adversity, what some people would call grit. It's instead about engaging in practices like singing, that provide self-care, self-compassion, and self-respect, that helps us build emotional muscle. Emotional muscle. Simple daily practices like getting enough sleep, getting a little bit of exercise every day, creating space in your home that feels peaceful, laughing out loud on a regular basis. Did you know that small children laugh on average 400 times a day, and adults average 15? Yeah, why is that? Did you also know that what authoritarians hate most is being laughed at? So can we find some humor in the midst of everything that we're facing? The healing comes from letting there be room for all of this to happen, room for grief, for misery, for relief, and for joy. A few years ago, I attended a week-long retreat at Ghost Ranch in New Mexico with a friend of mine that was focused on conscious aging. And in large part, the whole retreat was focused on how to become a more resilient individual, because when you get to be my age, things fall apart on a regular basis. And we talked about many of the things that I just mentioned, but in addition, there was a strong focus on the importance of finding your people, of having strong social networks that can help you be more resilient. Don't wait until you're my age to find these things out, y'all. This works for everybody at any age. In her book called The Myth of Resilience, Soraya Kamali writes that resilience is not something we simply build on our own. She reimagines a world where coping, recovery, and survival rely on our mutual interdependence and interconnectedness. Healthy resilience, she says, emerges from nurturing relationships with people, but also places, stories, history, and even time itself. Any strong ties to others, whether that be through ethnicity, shared values, shared experience, religious group, political group, is likely to help us persevere through hard times in a healthier way. All of the personal practices I mentioned are helpful, but they do assume that you have a baseline feeling of safety, of physical stability, and connectedness in order to be most effective. You know, if you want to make a community less resilient, what do? You divide the people. You increase their fear and their distrust of one another. You encourage them to forget rituals and stories and anything that might bring some sort of social cohesion. We have seen this tactic used over and over throughout our history. A few months ago, with the rest of you, I watched what was happening on the streets of Minneapolis as ICE agents took to their streets. Minneapolis is a city near and dear to my heart. It was a city that formed me as a young adult for 12 years and where many of my relatives still live. And I remember thinking when I heard that the Trump administration was going to come down hard on the city because of their, quote, rampant fraud, that he was picking on the wrong town. I couldn't put my finger on why I felt so strongly about that. But then during an interview I listened to with a woman who was out there protesting in minus 10-degree weather, she said, "We are a resilient people. We are a resilient people." Now, she might have just been referring to that sub-zero weather, but I don't think so. I think the reason I felt so strongly about why Minneapolis wouldn't easily capitulate was because when I lived there, and even as I talked to my relatives in that city, I witnessed a remarkable cohesiveness about the people there. I know that part of that cohesiveness has to do with the weather. It is one of those powerful bonding identities that I mentioned earlier. And in fact, if you were to ask many Minnesotans how they feel about immigration, they would probably tell you, anybody that wants to put up with this weather, let them come. We would love to have them here. But I also see their resilience in a broader context. Now, you may have assumed as you were watching those protests that Minnesota is a liberal state, but that is anything but the truth. In fact, Trump won 80 out of 87 districts in that state. 80 out of 87. Now, Minneapolis, like many large cities, tends to be a little bit more blue, but the incursion into that city was not a war between red and blue like many have thought we should look at it as. The fact is that the city was founded by descendants of some Nordic countries, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, that have a history of a strong civic engagement. No matter how they vote, they vote. And in fact, Minnesota has, through the ages, had the highest voter turnout of any state in the Union, regardless of whether they were, local races or national races. People turn out to vote. It is considered a civic duty to pay attention to what's going on and then to act on it. So people tend to pay attention to local politics. They attend local school board meetings. They support strong social safety nets. They are well known for having community events and community park systems and public spaces. They're all ubiquitous around every town. So people have ample opportunities to engage with each other. Trust in the city is fairly high right now. The city really grieved the killing of George Floyd years ago, and the police listened and made many changes in that town over the years. And while ICE tried to break down that trust. So far, it is holding. And this is why the police refused to help the ICE agents, and why you saw the Minnesota National Guard handing out coffee, hot chocolate, and donuts to the protesters. Amazing. Maybe it is the weather. I don't know, because, surviving that kind of minus 40-degree weather that they sometimes have in January it's not considered a solo event. For whatever reason, there's a certain resolve that lends itself to caring for your neighbors there. So for every person we saw on the street blowing whistles, taking pictures, there were hundreds of others delivering food, moms driving bilingual teachers to school, doctors delivering babies in basement apartments, or simply people checking on others to make sure their neighbors were okay. I was really taken with the fact that there was no language about us and them, or we and they, when I heard people being interviewed. It was always, I take that back. It was never us and them. It was we, our neighbors, our city, our something. And that made a big difference in the way they saw the work that they were doing. So high levels of civic engagement. These are all ways of building muscle around the backbone of democracy. And I know that many of these same things happened here in the Triangle when ICE came through our towns. And if you were a part of that, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, because that is what it takes. Being a fabric of a more resilient community. Being part of that fabric of a resilient community. Kamali writes, all the crises we face today are crises of disconnection. Loneliness, suicide, intimate violence, climate disaster, mass migration, globally worsening mental health, growing wealth inequality, rising militarism and fascism. Scratch the surface of any of these, she writes, and you will find failure after failure to prioritize nurturing and mutual care, and to value the people and cultures that do. When I was here last Sunday, I talked about my need to step back from feeling guilty about not being a social activist anymore, especially at this time in our national history. But as I've reflected on these feelings a bit this week, I've come to appreciate and embrace a different term, that of being civically engaged. Being civically engaged means paying attention to what's going on and then taking whatever actions that civic engagement calls you to do in that moment. Pema Chodron writes that we become more resilient by doing something every day that we fear, just a little. Something that makes us a little uncomfortable. What might that look like for you? What kinds of practices might help you build personal resilience? And what kind of civic engagement might stretch you a little bit, make you a little uncomfortable? I encourage you to think about small steps you might consider to make yourself and our communities a little bit more resilient. Small steps to spread beloved community beyond the walls of this fellowship. Amen, Ashe, and blessed be. It takes many resources as we weave the fabric of beloved community in our congregation, including the offering of our time, talent, creativity, imagination, and treasure, all given as we cultivate hearts of generosity toward our mission, vision, and work in the world. As the greeters come forward to pass the collection pouches, you may place something in it, or we invite you to point your device to the QR code on the screen, or you can use the QR code on one of the cards you find in the pew rack, and that'll take you directly to our online giving portal. If you need any assistance with any of this, you can receive help in the office right after the service. The River Folk will continue now with the offertory.
We shall not be broken, we shall not be moved, we shall not be
Thank you for your gifts this morning, especially the gift of being present with us this morning. And thank all of our musicians, our tech team, chalice lighter, worship associate, reader, story reader, everybody that has helped put this service together. I am very grateful. Thank you all for being part of this beloved community. And Wendy will now lead us in the closing hymn.
Please rise in body or spirit. Our closing hymn is number 1018, Come and Go With Me. Lyrics are on the screen. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Where I'm bound. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Where I'm bound. There'll be justice. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. Where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There will be justice in that land. Where I'm bound. They'll be singing. They'll be singing in that land. They'll be singing in that land. There will be singing in that land. Where I'm bound. They'll be singing in that land. They'll be singing in that land. There will be singing in that land. Where I'm bound. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Where I'm bound. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Where I'm bound.
As we close our service this morning, I'm going to lift some words from our meditation earlier. Settle your mind upon the strength, the power that is yours. Draw that strength into your heart. Draw it up into your soul, because we need each of your power, each of your resilience, each of your love to make us whole. Go in peace, my friends.